Elbert Duncan Thomas was a Democratic Party politician from Utah. He represented Utah in the United States Senate from 1933 until 1951. Biography. Elbert Duncan Thomas was born in Salt Lake City, Utah on June 17, 1883 to Caroline Stockdale and Richard Kendall Thomas. He was the fifth of 12 children. His parents loved the arts, especially the theater. They built the first children's playhouse west of the Mississippi River in a barn on the property, which they named the Barnacle. Elbert was involved in many plays held for the public in the Barnacle. His father was involved in local government and held conventions and political rallies at the Barnacle. His family later moved to a home across from what is now the conference center of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This home is on the National Historical Landmark Registry. While an undergraduate student at the University of Utah, Thomas helped found the Amici Phi Sigma Society in 1902. The AF Society was a men's fraternal organization which later affiliated with Phi Delta Theta Fraternity, an international college fraternity, in 1914, becoming the Utah Alpha chapter of the fraternity. Elbert was the first initiate into Phi Delta Theta at the University of Utah. Thomas married Edna Harker on June 25, 1907 in the Salt Lake Temple, and they had 3 daughters together. Edna died in 1942, and Elbert later married Ethel Evans in 1946 in the Salt Lake Temple. Church service. Thomas served a mission to Japan for the LDS Church with his first wife, from 1907 to 1912. He was one of the first LDS missionaries sent to Japan, and his first daughter, Chiyo, was born there. Elbert developed a deep love for the Japanese people and learned to speak Japanese fluently. He was the author of Tsuki no Michi, the Japanese translation of the Mormon Tract Way of Salvation. For part of his 5-year mission, Thomas was the president of the Japanese mission. On his return from Japan, he became a professor of political science and history at the University of Utah. He taught Latin, Greek and Japanese culture, as well as being a political science and history professor and eventually an administrator on the Board of Regents at the University of Utah for many years. Political office. Thomas was first elected to the Senate as a Democrat in 1932, defeating Republican Reed Smoot. He served on the Committee on Education and Labor, the Committee on Military Affairs, the Mines and Mining Committee, and the Committee on Labor and Public Welfare. In April 1943, a confidential analysis of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee by British scholar Isaiah Berlin for the British Foreign Office succinctly characterized Thomas as a Mormon ex-missionary whose work was mostly done in the Far East. He speaks Japanese fluently, and his attitudes towards post-war problems is colored principally by his Far Eastern views, which are summed up in his statement that the days of the white man's domination are over and the British Empire is almost certain to be dissolved in that part of the world. Quote, "He is an out-and-out internationalist and interventionist who has voted with the administration on all foreign measures. He is essentially a free trader but, nevertheless, occasionally votes with the Farm Bloc, which is powerful in the agricultural state which he represents. He is an ardent champion of the Jewish army scheme." Thomas served 3 terms before being defeated for re-election by Wallace F. Bennett in 1950. In 1951, he was appointed High Commissioner over the Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands. Elbert died in Honolulu, Hawaii Territory on February 11, 1953. He was buried in the Thomas family plot in the Salt Lake City Cemetery.